Alım kanatla bir salgan edildeysin, açılgan kızıl güldeysin. Bir gün oru bir gün soğuk, tartsam bilmeysin. Bete gelin maydanıma, peyri cakşın caydarım, gölü gölü maydanım.
My name is Luke Wilson. I'm a Peace Corps volunteer in the Kyrgyz Republic, and I'd like to take you on a little tour of the site that I've been working at for the last 2 years. I'm here next to the Narin River, which you might be able to see is still frozen over. It's the middle of March and pretty cold. And my village that I've been working at is about a 30-minute walk to the north of here. We'll be going there next to check out my school and my home and talk to some of the people I've been able to work with in the last 2 years.
I arrived here knowing little more than what came with my Peace Corps invitation, what showed up on the first page of Google, and that I was getting a chance to truly explore another place in the world and my own abilities. It's impossible to be here and not be stunned by the natural beauty all around, and respect the people who endure so many hardships and have welcomed a complete stranger like me to share their homes, food, culture, and lives. Of course, there have been frustrations, but I wouldn't trade this experience for anything. I work at a school in a rural village called Togolok Moldo in the Aktala region of Narin State. Aktala translates to pure field or white field, which, as you can see, is a pretty apt name. Narin Oblast, or state, is one of the least developed, if not the least developed areas of Kyrgyzstan. It's a place of extremes. The largest state in the country and the least densely populated. It's also the coldest area in the country, with winter temperatures regularly reaching negative 35 degrees Celsius. Combined with an infrastructure that hasn't really been updated since the Soviet era, it's a place that's often overlooked by a country that most people in the world have never heard of. So, where exactly is Kyrgyzstan? This map, which we painted as part of a project to improve a classroom at school, will give you a bit of an idea. That's Kyrgyzstan, that little yellow country in the middle of Asia, with Kazakhstan to the north, China to the east, Tajikistan to the south, and Uzbekistan to the west. Kyrgyzstan, seen here, is divided into 7 oblasts, or states. That's Bishkek, the capital in the north. It's a long, bumpy, 8-hour drive over a 3,000-meter pass to get to Togolok Moldo, just about in the very middle of the country, right here. That's Argen, my host brother. We'll get to him later. Togolok Moldo is a pretty typical Kyrgyz town of about 3,000 people. It's named after a much-beloved poet who was born here around the turn of the century. He was known for being very religious and very fat, which explains why the town's name translates roughly into Fat Priest. Sometimes it seems like not a lot has changed here since Togolok Moldo's time, but like anywhere in the world, the everyday goings-on can be fascinating if you stop to look. There's one paved road that runs through the center of town. The local government offices, a couple of mosques, and a health clinic, and a few stores where people can buy the essentials, like clothes, flour, oil, light bulbs, soap, and of course, candy, cookies, and vodka. People spend a lot of time with their families, taking care of animals, doing chores, and watching TV. Or when the holidays come around.
Oh yeah!
Kids spend a lot of time outdoors, playing football or chuko, a traditional game similar to marbles, only in true Kyrgyz fashion. They use the knee bones of sheep. Our school is big, 700 students and over 70 teachers. It was built by the Soviets in the 80s and must have been a world-class facility when it was new. In fact, it still has everything you'd expect to find in a school, but over the years many things have fallen into disrepair. The cafeteria provides a light meal for the elementary students, essential for some of them, who don't get much more than tea and bread at home. There's a gymnasium, although unfortunately a few wrestling mats and a volleyball set is pretty much the only equipment the school has. There is a new computer lab and a chemistry lab filled with Soviet-era chemicals. A teacher's lounge, and, of course, a barber shop. This is the English Resource Center, where I do most of my work. It was set up a couple years ago by my counterparts and the last volunteer. It has a nice library of children's books, and this year, thanks to donations from my family and friends, we were able to write a project to get a computer, a new printer, whiteboards, and new desks and chairs. It's become a great space for holding teacher trainings, health clubs, and student English clubs.
His name. There was a farmer had a dog and Bingo was his name. Oh. Ne oldu bu yakta?
Su ağıtmayın. Etaştan.
Etaştan.
Üstüne alt tişört var. Kaç şkafın var? Baldatın şu atat, numbolu atat.
Numbol atat ha? Anan hem ne kol alasız?
Ya.
Mol kantip me oңdo atas. Oңdo alasız.
Men qancha o'nglayman. Hökümet yordam bermese men jalgız qolmam ne kelek?
Bilmem. Hökümet yordam berbeyt mi?
Hökümet yordam yok. Deputatga qayrylatam. Sarada aytatam, oladi qarachi, tart oldi atam. Ko'rib jo'natish kerak. İnternetga jo'natish kerak, olish kerak. Ne qil deysan? Ay, men turaman.
Turabı?
This is my backyard, where my family grows a small crop of potatoes. Like many people in Narin Oblast, the bulk of my family's money is created and kept in the form of livestock, mainly sheep. When the snow starts to melt in the spring, it's time to shear the 50-odd sheep and goats that belong to the family.
It's about the middle of April right now, and as you can see, it's gotten a little bit warmer. I thought I'd show you around my house a little bit, so come on in.
There's Argen again, and my host grandfather. There are 4 people in the immediate family I live with, pretty small for a Kyrgyz family. My host father, my host mother, there she is. She's a chemistry teacher at school, as well as Argen and my other little brother, Ulan. The house I live in is pretty typical for a village, although much nicer than some. There's no running water, but we can carry it in from the well right outside. We cook and eat meals together in this room for most of the year, and the family spends most of their time in this other room. In fact, in the winter, when we heat the house with coal, this room serves as the TV room, bedroom, dining room, kitchen, and washroom for the entire family. This room is mainly only used when guests visit, which is always a big event. And here's my room. Pretty good digs for a Peace Corps volunteer. Living with a host family is probably the best thing about being a volunteer in Kyrgyzstan, and has helped me learn the language, cultural practices, and see what life is really like for the average person. But what I'm most grateful for is the fact that they welcomed me into their home and their family.
Hey Argen, ne kol atasın?
Oyna.
Ne oyun?
Counter Strike.
Counter Strike bu. Ha, rahmat. Bakayım ne tamakta var bugün?
Мясо.
Miyasa.
Gel otur bakayım.
Gel Ergen.
Kandı nerede?
Kaldı da mı? Şu kara yüzük.
I'll never forget Kyrgyzstan. It's such a common thing to say about places we visit. I'll never forget it. But in many ways I haven't just been visiting. While my service as a volunteer here won't last more than a couple years, the experience has left an indelible mark on my life. It's a complicated place, with its own quirks and faults that can't be summed up in a few lines. And neither can my experience. Kyrgyzstan is filled with beauty, both in the landscape and in the culture. Any visitor can see that. What I've been lucky to experience is the beauty of the individual Kyrgyz people, my neighbors and students and co-workers. No matter how far I go from this place, I'll always be coming back to the experiences I had and the people I met in Togolok Moldo.
Айтпайсың қар кетті. Қар кетті, кедім әттің көкірді, кем айдады, кем септі, бача чекей төрілді. Америкаға жібересті? Қайсырдар бәлі дағы нелі?